That was pretty much. Then the time was.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to our school board meeting this evening. Sorry we were a little bit late. For those of you with the sweet tooth, though, over there on the table is some goodies. Yesterday was Father's Day, and everybody in my family decided it was trying to screw up my diet that I've been working diligently on. So I've been giving out all the goodies. And so I'm not going to take that box with me. There's a little hammer. You got to break the brittle up. And so have your way with it. Please, anybody, knock yourself out, unless you're on a diet, of course. With that, we will go with, let's go with a roll call.
Bill Adams.
Here.
Stephanie Ahmad. Here. Rich Carnation.
Here.
Malinali Lopez. Here. Paul Cogorno.
Here. All righty. Flag salute by Stephanie Ahmad.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
All righty. Superintendent, report out of closed session, I guess we're going to.
Yeah, we have agendized items, nothing to report out of closed session.
Got it. Okay, very good. Adjustments to the agenda. I'm going to make one. That is Jen Cox is home, recuperating still. So everybody keep her in your thoughts. She's feeling well, she's not here with us, so she's not feeling quite up to it, but I'll bet you a dollar she's home watching. So Jen, hope you feel better. And then another adjustment to the agenda. Pete's not here right now.
Oh, but I can explain it if need be.
Okay.
Oh, just, go ahead,
Here,
Rich.
I'll
Yeah, we
help
have the
you
same
out.
information.
Yeah, basically, we're going to, there's a consideration for approval of an updated certificated administrative salary schedule. There was a typo in the one that we approved. One of the lines in the Excel thing kind of got messed up anyhow. So we're going to add that to the consent item, which is 4.8. But if anybody has any questions on it, I think everybody already has all the information. It's just, we just got to do it proper. So anyway, we're going to add that to 4.8. Any other adjustments to the agenda anybody needs? All righty. Moving on to 2.5, public comment on non-agendized items. If you guys, any comments, please keep it to 3 minutes. If there's a common theme, we're going to try and keep it to 20 minutes or less. Or if somebody says something and you agree with it, I think at the town council, they always say like, shake your hand or do something or I don't know, whatever. But anyhow, if you just, and also just let us know your name and what have you. Thank you.
My name's David Douglas, and I'm a proud Aguila at Cali Calmeca Language Academy. I stand in solidarity with the teachers at Cali who were unjustly retaliated against and thrown around and disrespected and not treated like the pillars in the community that they are and all the service they've given to this community for decades. At Cali, we are a shining example of what every public school should be across the nation, bilingüe. El fascista Donald Trump declaró que el idioma oficial del país es inglés, pero en Cali decimos, aquí hablamos español. Our teachers, together with education support staff, lay the basis for democracy and equal rights in the day-to-day education of our young people. They are the great inspirers of builders of the body of knowledge and basic skills of learning and understanding, and the individual self-confidence and capability for critical thinking that create a democratic citizenry. What our teachers do is essential to the possibility of the American people making real the promise of democracy and equal rights declared with our nation's birth. And they do not deserve to be disrespected by this school district. They make Dr. King's dream real by providing what he called this, quote, socially healing context of the classroom. Cali Calmeca creates an environment by making Dr. King's dream real when he stated integration is not to be seen as a problem, but an opportunity to participate in the beauty of diversity. We can never forget that everything Hitler did in Germany was legal. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., letter from a Birmingham jail. This school board, Rich Carnation and Jeremy Decker, have instructed staff and teachers that under certain circumstances, Donald Trump's murderous ICE Gestapo thugs should be granted access to our schools, endangering all of our lives and especially our students. Would this school board have instructed teachers at Anne Frank's elementary school to allow Nazi Gestapo into the school and kidnap her and take her to the gas chambers and instruct the teachers to do nothing? It's important that we build the movement against Donald Trump. This board should not be complicit in Donald Trump's racist ethnic cleansing of immigrants in the United States. We demand that this board declare WUSD a sanctuary district, that you will not cooperate or collaborate with ICE.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. And thank you for my Cali colleagues, my friends and family for standing with us tonight. My name is Peter Ramirez. I've taught at Cali for 22 years, 18 years as a second grade teacher, and I'm here to address a recent decision that has deeply impacted our school community. On June 3rd, the very last day of school, my second grade team was called into the office by Principal Teruel for a meeting. She was seeking a volunteer for a guiding coalition. Nobody volunteered. We declined, and we did give our reasons. And it should be noted that we are not the only grade that declined. She stated that as a result of not having a volunteer, there will be changes, including moving up to two teachers, 2 of the 5, to a different grade level. Let's see. On June 9th, we received an email notifying our team that that 2 teachers were in fact being involuntarily moved to 1st and 4th grade. Carrie Ramirez behind me, a veteran of 23 years and 13 years in 2nd grade. Maria Peña, a veteran of 29 years in 2nd grade, moving. This in a year when we were told countless times that by Cali staff that incoming 2nd grade class needs experienced teachers and they need continuity. While I understand the administration's desire for leadership participation, using involuntary transfer as a penalty or a tool for compliance is malicious. The timing of the decision was capricious and damaging. Delivering this news on a few days after school left my colleagues in shock. No time to process, no time to collaborate with outgoing or incoming teams, and no closure. These extensive changes should have been thoughtfully planned months earlier with Guiding Coalition and with all staff input. Guiding Coalition appears to guide in name only. This decision compromises student stability. Cultivating expertise in a grade level takes years. Forcing 2 teachers out of their element and as a consequence for a collective decision is ultimately shortchanging the students who will walk into our classrooms this fall. True leadership cannot be coerced. When administrative reassignments are used in this way, trust is eroded, decimates staff morale, and creating a culture of fear instead of community. The Youth Through survey showed that rapport between admin and Cali staff needs to be rebuilt. And so I urge the board to review the policies regarding involuntary transfers, particularly timing and justification. Our teachers deserve transparency, respect, and a professional courtesy of a collaborative conversation, not sudden reassignment. These veteran teachers deserve more, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just one real quick. Some of you guys we can see it back there, and I'm not sure if you guys see it, but there's a clock that, anyhow, just, I didn't know, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, so I didn't know if you saw it. Thanks.
I'll keep it short. I'm Maggie Koshnier. I'm an 8th grade history teacher at Cali Calmeca, and I'm here in support of our 2nd grade team. I want to say I'm very proud to be part of Cali today. I think the teachers that you see here before you are coming out despite fear, real fear, that standing up to our administrator will lead to being moved to another grade level when, you know, many of us have worked hard for many years to master our content and develop the teams that we think function quite well and we're extremely proud of. And so just coming here today and showing support for the 2nd grade team took a level of sacrifice for everyone here, all the teachers here. I trust that none of you would like us to be functioning in a climate of fear, that you, as all of us understand that schools require cooperation and not retaliation in order to function properly. So we're calling on you to do the right thing and help our administration to understand that. Thank you.
I'm Jane Ellen Kovakovich, educational specialist for Cali Kameka, over 40 years of teaching, and at Cali for over 20. And I look at you and I realize this board, what can you do? You can look into this matter, you can listen and see what the issues are. And I think that if you look at this room, this is summer, and we have a full room of people who care. We have some teachers in second grade who are collaborators. They are incredible with the kids. And I'm here to support Maria and Carrie to show you that they have the skills, they have the experience. When you take 29 years of a person I've watched for many years, how she's calm and she's connected with these kids, and she has a way of looking around the room, both of them. They have a way of looking around the room and saying, this child is still learning to read. This child can't read. This child is ready to go forward. This one's on the ground because they have behavior problems. This one looks like they might have autism. This one has skills that we have to do some program and thinking. They have that kind of knowledge, and they have that ability to work so well with these kids. And they've been doing it for a long time. So I am standing here in support of them. The number of kids that we have that are coming through with auditory processing, having difficulty sitting down and listening, the issues that are with autism that we're finding, they have the skills, they have the experience, and that's what we still need in second grade. You know, it's a bridge between first grade and second grade. It is like when you're younger, you're trying to learn how to read. When you're in second grade, you're taking your reading and learning how to think. You have executive functioning. You have so many skills you have to start using. And it's in both languages. Well, they have the skills and they have the knowledge. So I recommend, if there's any way to work this out, for them to be retained in their position. I know we have good teachers who could take their place, but could they do what they do this year? It's a question.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Diana Avila Anguiano, and I'm a former Windsor education educator and early learning and care advocate. I am here to speak on some of my colleagues that are behind me that might not feel entitled to speak up or feel discouraged due to retaliation. I want to bring back information that was shared at a previous meeting, specifically the presentation that Lidia Teruel from Cali Mecac shared about the youth truth data that was very shocking. And I'm not sure if you remember, but if you go back in your notes, you will, at the fact that there was a significant decrease to all staff feeling connected and thriving within that community. When I left Cali, that was not the case, and that was 2 years ago. We need to really make sure that our administrators and our board continues to have accountability with our administrators and our superintendent, as well as everybody that supports the administration within Windsor Unified, so that our educators feel respected, that there are transparent conversations, and that everybody feels valued, and that they have a voice when it comes to big decisions, such as the ones that have been mentioned this evening. I also want to ensure that you all know that maybe all the information that is happening, boots on the ground, as they say, might not be shared with you daily. And so to really consider the fact that everybody is coming in here with public comment to share some discrepancies and some feelings that are uneasy for some of our folks that we have here today. Thank you.
Is she coming up or? No. Oh, Windsor. All right. Anybody else have any public comment? Come on.
Hi, Ariela Guerrero, community member. I went to school here, and my mom was a teacher for a very long time. In fact, we sometimes worked together. She was my teacher. I think she was my 8th grade teacher once. So, sorry, I'm not good at public speaking. Basically, what I'm trying to say is my mom, I've seen her work very hard alongside many other teachers, volunteering much of their time before school, after school, holidays, weekends, a lot of it unpaid. And so when I heard that there was some punitive action on the basis of them not performing additional volunteer work, it struck a chord with me. That doesn't feel right. And that's all I wanted to say, that we support Cali teachers and they should be treated with respect for what they do that goes unpaid, that isn't seen, that they do on behalf of their students, their school, and their community every day.
Anyone else? Oh, sorry.
No.
Oh,
I think that was enough.
that was it? Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the public comment. I'm sure there'll be some comments about it. Moving on to 2.6, Superintendent's report.
I don't have a report. Just want to point out, if you guys haven't been here before, the board can't respond, so that they're not ignoring you. They just aren't allowed to respond.
Okay. Thanks, Jeremy. Moving to 2.7, Board of Trustees reports, where we can respond if we would like. Thank you for coming. I'm really excited to have my grandson start Cali next year. When I first came to Windsor 30-some years ago, I was really intimidated. I wanted my kids to go. Most of them speak Spanish now. But I was intimidated to send them there because I felt inadequate, because how am I supposed to help them with their homework when I don't speak Spanish? I mean, I've got like 10 survival words and that's about it, or at least at the time. So anyhow, nice to see you all as a community. I've heard for many, many years, we have 2 products of Cali up here on our board, and they've turned out fabulous. And I'm hoping the same thing happens for my grandkids as they go through your program that has been somewhat magical and mysterious in the way that you seem to year in and year out turn out awesome kids that do great scholastically and learn languages that help them. So I'm pretty excited about that. I am interested in meeting with a few of you personally. There seems to be some what's the right way to say it where it doesn't cost me $50? There seems to be a misunderstanding of some people's who they are and what they are and how they live their life. And I'd like to take that opportunity to meet you and explain to you that I think you're missing something, but maybe you're not. And that goes for anybody and everybody. So anyhow, that would be my trustee report, that honesty, openness, transparency is always the best way to go. And the only way to do that is to have a lot of one-on-one conversations. So anyhow, any other trustees got anything to bring? Oh, and yesterday I spent 9 hours on Father's Day driving a whole load of kids down to Gilroy for another educational opportunity for in the summer. So first time on Father's Day, I got the traffic to Gilroy on a Sunday should not be that bad, but it was. Anyhow, anybody else?
I thank you for the commenters and thank you all for being here. In addition to the 6 folks who got up, we also received 8 different email letters that I'm aware of. I got 8. And again, I think a couple of you get them. Our practice with those is they're acknowledged by either the superintendent or the president of the board. So we do not have serial meetings. We do not respond to you. It doesn't mean we did not get them. And thank you. I will tell you, I think there's a lot of conversation back and forth. It concerns me that several of the letters, and at least one or two of you today, expressed concerns about retaliation. And, I think we need to unpack that and get to a number of pieces of that. But I'll tell you, as a board member that served the longest of anybody, that is just a horribly corrosive thing, that a perception or reality or a little of both is something we need to get to the bottom of, because that's not what we're about in Windsor. And so thank you for coming. For many of us, literally, I was on vacation in Tahoe last week, and so I came home on Saturday and saw, there was three things we got today. 5 letters about this, which is the first I heard of it. So thank you for taking the time to come.
I just want to say, as my colleagues already shared, that we're not allowed to respond to the public comment tonight. But I do want to say that it warms my heart to see all of you here, because my mom worked at Cali for about 12 years. Her name is Josefa Lopez. And I know that I really resonated with a lot of what you said in terms of, she would volunteer her time. She spent her own money to buy art supplies. She did a lot, for the kids. So I just want to say that I hope you feel welcome. And I know that we're going to have a lot of thoughtful conversations about, some of the themes that have been brought up.
Thanks. Just clarifying on Bill's point too. Normally when we get letters, the school board president replies back. If it's anonymous, we don't, because we don't know who to send it back to. So if somebody sent a letter and they didn't get a reply back, it was a little bit difficult, because sometimes we were getting letters, but some of them weren't addressed. Like, I know Stephanie, I saw 2 letters that got bounced back because it didn't have her right email address in it and stuff. And so anyhow, if you send a letter, we got them. If you didn't get a reply back from me, if you could just send me an email and just let me know that you didn't get a reply if you want one, and we will. And basically, we just let you know that we can't discuss something that might come to the board through emails, but we do it through deliberation at the board level. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Bill.
On the email point, I think I'm the only person in the district who has a different convention in my email. It's sdahmad@wusd.org. So I'll just say it now, so that, because my husband is a teacher at the high school and he has S. Ahmad, but I think no, he doesn't. So I don't know why some people got a bounce back sending me an email, but it's SD Ahmad if you're ever trying to get a hold of me. We check our email all the time, so we always see everything that comes in, even if you don't get a response. And I just want to say that Cali is such an integral part of who I am and what the life that I have, that it's hard for me to think about me being separate from Cali. So I went to school there from kindergarten through 8th grade. My 2 kids went to school at Cali, graduated a couple years ago, and are now at the high school. One actually just graduated from the high school. So, huge part of moving back to Windsor was to be able to send them to school there. So like my life kind of has revolved around this school. And, I'm just one person. I know so many people have gone through the program, been impacted by it, had their lives enriched by it. And so it's very moving to see you all here during your summer vacation, here standing up and standing together, which I think is something that is very indicative of Cali, that people stand behind one another. And if you feel that something is unjust, you work together to try to figure out a solution. I'm still trying to understand exactly what's going on, so I think I have some more learning to do, but know that we appreciate you being here, and we're listening and trying to understand and see what we can do as a board. So thank you for being here. And I don't have anything else to report. So that's all for me.
Thank you, Steph. Moving to 2.8, staff association reports. Nope. No?
Joe, do you have a report?
Okay. Alrighty, 2.9, approval of minutes from the June 8th regular board meeting, WUSD regular school board meeting, minutes of June 8th, 2026.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the
All right.
June 8th,
And I'll second.
2026.
So Paul and Malinelli. All right,
Okay,
all those in favor?
yeah.
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
All right,
Oh, I guess I.
any public comment? Nope, okay. Passes, okay, can you hand that to him? Alrighty, thank you. Moving to, let's see. 3,
Consent.
yep. Oh, consent items. Turning that over to Paul, 4.1 and on.
Okay, so we're moving on to consent items. Do we have any adjustments other than the one that we added, 4.8? And do we need to pull any for discussion? No? Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll ask that we make a motion that we approve consent items 4.1 through 4.8.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye,
Opposed?
all good. All righty, thanks, Paul. That was almost a whole page. All right, moving on to 5.1, resolution number 2026-32, ordering an election to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds, establishing specifications of the election order and the requesting consolidation with the November 3rd, 2026 statewide general election. This item will be introduced by Austin.
And here tonight presenting this item, I have Katie Dobson from Jones Hall as well.
Well, you picked a good one, didn't you?
I did, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here with you tonight. Before you is a resolution for consideration calling a bond election for November 3rd. This resolution contains all of the legally required language to call the election and to request that the county consolidate it with everything else that will be on the ballot in November. Importantly, the appendices to this resolution will be made available to voters. So Appendix A is the full text of the measure. That will be in the voter information guide. Appendix B is the abbreviated form of the bond measure, or the 75 words, as we call it, which is the question that voters will see on the ballot. They'll read it and select yes or no. And then Appendix C is the tax rate statement, which includes certain estimates about what this measure will cost, and that will also be in the voter information guide. So I'm happy to answer any questions about this resolution or the measure.
Katie, could you talk specifically about what we're asking for, the dollar amount, please? And then that it's kind of an extension of what we've had on our tax bills.
Yes, so your tax for this year is estimated to be, I believe, $126. And this measure will extend that tax rate and be extending a $46, one of your old measure, $46 tax rate. So that would raise $96 million in bonds if you were levying $46 per 100,000 of assessed value.
So I love the way Bill says this. So for the folks that are watching at home, or the insomniacs that can't sleep at 2 a.m, basically what this bond is doing is just extending the rate and the support that the school district is already giving to the school district, and we're just extending that out further, correct?
Yes, this year's tax rate.
So it just stays the same.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
I mean, thank you for coming all this way
Yeah.
and appreciate the presentation. I don't think I have any more other questions.
I don't have, I just have one comment. And it was, to be blunt, it was a comment that I made when we were trying to decide whether we just extend it or if we ask for the amount again and just actually campaign this time. And I did see something on social media, so, and it was exactly the same question I had. And the comment was, wait a minute, they asked for 122 million last time, now they're only asking for 92. What gives? What were they trying to sneak over by us, right? And the answer is nothing, but I want to explain something. We have experts that have come in and looked at all our facilities for the schools, and we have a list of all the different things that need to be resolved and taken care of. Some of them are important, some of them are really important, some of them are critically important, and they have just kind of a hierarchy of necessity. And so, yes, we were asking for the 122 million, and I'm going to use this as an analogy. We all have cars, and we all drive them down the street. And we've all been broke at times where the alignment in our vehicle is off. We don't have the money to pay for it to get realigned. So right now, we don't have the money for the alignment, and right now we're still able to drive, and right now we're still able to get there. But we're wearing our tires out on the inside or the outside prematurely. That's what we're doing. We're basically paying for an alternator, we're paying for a radiator, we're paying for the things that are needed in our car critically, but the things that are important but not critical, they're not going to get addressed right now. That's where that difference in the money is. It doesn't mean that the need isn't there. It just means that down the road, the school district at some point is going to have to go back to the people and say, we need new tie rods now, and we need an alignment now, and we need 4 new tires too, which are going to cost us a lot more than if we would have just aligned it at this time. So it's not that we didn't need the money, and it's not that we don't need the money. It's just that we have things that are more critical than others that we're just going to have to address with. And we're going to have to be like everybody else in every other household in Windsor. We're just going to have to do the best we can with what we have. And we're hoping that the voters of our town will at least continue to support us and support the kids, really is what this is. Support the kids and the facilities that we have with our most critical of needs. And then down the road, when we get flat tires, we'll have to come back and talk to the folks again. And again, there's a debate. You can have a debate of what is more critical. You can also have a debate of, an ounce of prevention or a pound of cure. Well, we just had an election 2 years ago, and we heard the electorate. They said, we're not in for the pound of cure right now. We're in for what we can do. And so this is the best that we can do. And I hope that explains to people why, because I'm the same way. My initial thought was, no, we go back out for 120, and we explain to everybody, that's it. But right now in the world, the way things are, there just doesn't seem to be a will to invest in things that will keep the cost down later right now. So I hope my analogy was somewhat.
Well, I've never heard of tie rods before, but otherwise I think that is a very apt analogy. And I would say legally, the district is allowed to ask for up to $60 per $100,000 of assessed valuation. And the district looked at the most critical needs and rolled that back to $46 instead of the maximum.
Correct. Any other questions, comments, or?
I don't have a question. I'll have a comment when we get to having a motion on it, or I could make a motion.
Oh,
Perhaps that we approve Resolution 2026-32, and then when we're deliberating, I have a concern.
so we got a motion by Bill. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Here, I gotta write this stuff down. All right. Do we go to public comment first, or?
I think we go to public comment, then perhaps bring it back to the board for deliberation.
You don't have to stand up, why? People.
Okay, I'm fine.
Is there anybody in the public that would like to come up and make any comments about the bond issue? No, okay. Bring it back.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Just an observation. So, we need to convince our fellow townspeople that they can trust us with their treasure. We didn't get that across the finish line a couple of years ago. So I think having a clear and consistent narrative, I will just say it out loud, that the town recently has put a 1% sales tax on the same ballot measure. And I think we need to work very diligently with the other government entity that sits up here so that these campaigns are not contradictory or overlapping or confusing. I, for one, am very interested to work with the town collaboratively, that it is a win-win. I think there are needs for both entities, but I think we also need to be aware and forewarned of the approach that everybody except for one sitting member of the council took the last time we had a bond, which was not to support it. And we need to have that conversation with our colleagues on the town about how we're going to do this. And we need to have that conversation sooner than later so that this is collaborative and can be productive, and realize that our constituency is the children of the town. And there's a lot of work to do and a lot of confidence to build between both government entities for these to succeed. So that's my observation.
Thanks, Bill. And again, I'm going to start beating the drum or the horse or whatever they
Don't beat a horse.
Yep. That's true. Peter will give me. We are not asking for more money. We're asking for everyone to continue to support the kids to the same exact level that they've been supporting year in and year out. That's what we're asking for. And I'm going to keep saying that over and over again, because I know there are some folks out there that I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, say, you mean well. I'm not sure. But this is the way the state of California funds schools. We have bonds that take care of the facilities. Each and every one of us want to make sure our kids go to classes that are safe, they're dry, and they're warm or cool, depending on the time of year. And our kids deserve nothing less than that. And so, again, we're just asking everybody in our school district to continue to support the kids to the same level that they have in previous years. Anything else? All righty, so this is a resolution. So we have we have a motion by Bill, a second by Stephanie. Then we're going to do a roll call.
Bill Adams.
Yes.
Stephanie Ahmad.
Yes.
Rich Carnation.
Yes.
Malinali Lopez.
Yes.
Paul Cogorno.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you. Give me 1 second so I can get this stuff done right now. So that 5, 0. Okay. That's Jeremy's. And that's Jeremy. So both of these go to Jeremy. Thank you. All righty. Thank you very much. Now we're going to move to 5.2, consideration of approval of the 2024-27 Local Control Accountability Plan, LCAP. The annual review presented by
Me.
Superintendent Decker.
Yes, sir. So you guys have already looked at the bulk of this last meeting. The only thing that's changed, none of the content has changed, but the budget overviews were input. They were not there last time. They were empty. They've been plugged in by Austin. And so beyond that, everything is the same document that you've already gone through at the public hearing last time.
Okay. And we are required to,
Just approve, I believe. I don't think this is a resolution. This is just an approval.
I didn't think it was. I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, so this is just the second time through. All right. Do we need to make a motion to approve this, Jeremy?
You do.
All righty. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to comment on 5.2? All right, bringing it back. Can I have a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion to approve the LCAP.
I'll second.
Paul? Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I have a few things to say.
Sure.
Yeah. So I know that we discussed this in our last meeting, and we went over, some of the content of the LCAP. But I want to say that I feel that with, what is listed in here in terms of the LCAP's actions that need to be addressed. So I'm talking about the bulleted items in this section. I think that we still have so much work to do in terms of really serving English learners, students with disabilities, foster youth, and also socioeconomically disadvantaged students, as well as expanding access to mental health services and more inclusive instructional practices. As listed in this item, there's a lot still to be discussed and fleshed out, I think, and that takes time, right? This can't be all solved in one meeting. So I just wanted to address some patterns that I've been noticing over the years as I've been talking to some of our teachers. And that is, for example, I often come to these meetings, and when I come to these meetings, we get these dashboard reports about how our students are doing. And a lot of those students, at least half of our students across the board, are Latino students, right? And some of the comments that I've received from teachers are, for example, that we need to have more of a placemaking strategy for our schools. And to me, what that means is, for example, when you come into the school, you visually feel welcome. And also Latino students also feel like they have a place there, right? And when I scan the schools, with the exception of Cali, I don't see that. I don't see the residents, with Latino culture in terms of students feeling welcome, like I belong here. There's not anything that visually shows me I belong here. And then also in terms of, what are the resources that we have for Latino students? I feel like there's a lot we can do in terms of helping them to feel welcome. And I know one of these patterns that has really resonated with me is for years, we've been getting this youth truth survey, and for years we've been scoring low marks on students feeling welcome, like they belong, right? And this also goes along with what I feel, when I come to the board meeting and we talk about the dashboards and the testing, and every single time we see that, Latinos students are overwhelmingly underperforming academically, right, in math and also in reading comprehension. And I find all of these patterns together to be very troubling. So I think that, we need to have more discussions at future meetings about, how can we help all students, not just Latino students, but all students to feel welcome, but especially Latino students, just because they're, across the board, half of each of our schools. And then also one item that I think that we need to discuss in the future is that I was trying to think of, how we score the students. It's, students that are ESL students that are at a very deep disadvantage because they're just learning English. But yet, on the testing performance, they're scored, in the same way as other students who are literate in English. And I just think maybe we need better tiered goals, right? We need to maybe somehow be able to group certain students in terms of where they're at differently and create different goals, for those groups. And then also another area of improvement that I see that has been deeply needed for a very long time is, better communication with Spanish-speaking families. So even the English-speaking families, for example, have been telling me that when they get on our website, that they have a really difficult time navigating it. And these are the English-speaking families, right? So you can imagine what that must feel like for the Spanish-speaking families, to try to get any kind of information from our website. It's kind of a labyrinth in there, right? So I think that we need to have conversations about that. And then also, better interpretation services. We have not ever had a conversation about having our board materials or our board meetings interpreted, right? And I think that all of these things together, I could see how if I was a family that only spoke Spanish and I had just immigrated here from somewhere else, it'd be very difficult for me to participate. In meetings, to feel included, to feel seen and visible. So I feel that all of these topics are important in terms of our LCAP. just because, one of our biggest goals is to support English learners and also students with disabilities. So I really feel that we need to look at our communication practices, to get families connected, but also look at our students, like when the moment they walk onto the school campus, how are they feeling included in terms of, who they are, the cultural background that they bring. So for example, I think a great topic of discussion would be, instead of only talking about Latinos underperforming academically, our Latino families, they bring a lot of richness and vibrance to our community, but we rarely have discussions about that. So for example, Cali has been contributing for years with this very elaborate Dia de los Muertos celebration, but we don't really take the time, I think, to acknowledge Latino families. Like, we're glad you're here. Thank you so much for all of the contributions that you bring to our community. So I think all of these, are to me, they're connected to the LCAP because, this is, because of, these students, this is largely a lot of the income that, comes into our school district. So I think that we also need to acknowledge the contributions that, diverse families bring. So I know that was a long speech, but all of these things are really important to me. And this is what, keeps me here on the board is, really advocating for these families. Thank you.
Thanks, Mel. It wasn't that long.
I guess I'll never beat your record. I don't think I have a chance.
You're catching up, though. Oh, Bill?
Yeah, we've historically only had one trustee on the LCAP, and perhaps appreciate your insights. We expand that to 2 trustees. That would not be a violation of the Brown Act with a quorum, but would ensure certainly that there would be the voice and concerns that was expressed by Trustee Lopez. So something to think about. I think we could make that change even starting in the new calendar year, new school year as opposed to a calendar year. So something to think about maybe in our August meeting.
I mean, that's easy enough. If you'd like to participate, we'll just have 2 school board members. Who is the other member right now? Do we know who's representing? It's you, Paul. We could do that if you're interested, Malinali.
Sure, let's do it. I said a lot, so now I have to put my actions behind my words, right?
You're in.
They call that hung by the tongue.
Got to walk the walk.
Okay. So Stephanie made a motion, Paul seconded it. We've had discussion. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor of approving, say yes?
Aye.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes. You did? Oh, I didn't hear you. All right, there we go. 5-0 passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to 5.3, consideration of approval for the 2024-2027 Local Control Accountability Plan review for Cali.
All charter schools are required to have their own LCAP, so theirs is carved out. Same thing.
Do we use the similar district and trustee representation on that LCAP, or is it a different set of representation for Cali's?
We use the same. We treat Cali as if they're part of the school district. I mean, Lydia ends up having
They're
a
parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lydia does do a lot more of the work for LCAP than the district LCAP, if you will, but we still do everything together. Same initiatives, same supports.
Very good. Anybody in the audience that would like to mention anything about this particular item? All righty, bringing it back to the board. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion, and then I just had
Right.
a comment, which is, I was just thinking for people at home who don't know anything about the LCAP, it's the way I see it kind of in basic terms is it's a way of aligning our funding with our priorities as a district. And so it's like the state's mandated reporting mechanism, which I think could be a lot tighter. It's like a 300-page report. Or maybe it's a little shorter now.
It's shorter now, but
it could still be shorter, I'm sure. But it's like a process where you have stakeholders give input and then they make adjustments and kind of align goals to funding mechanisms. And it's a pretty good process. I mean, I think there's so much to be always improved in education. I think it's just the nature of educating kids and working as an organization and people collaborating and doing their best. So not exactly sure where I'm going with this.
I think you just wanted to explain what the LCAP
I wanted
was
to
because I did
explain
none
what it
of
was,
that.
but also talk about kind of just bigger goals. And I know we all have very strong goals for what we want to see in student achievement and student outcomes. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's totally aligned to, like, I think we all have something we want to see for kids in our district, and we all want the best for the kids. And then this is one of the mechanisms we have to kind of help get us there, but then there's still like more that we have to do, I guess is what I wanted to say. So it's a one piece of the puzzle. It's the piece that comes from the state that's mandated, but then we have our own, everybody in the district has their own additional goals and things that they do to add on. I just wanted to talk because you talk a lot, Rich.
Well, you're kind of a piker. You didn't really go very far, but I'm going to second your motion as a sign of support.
Thanks.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Motion passes. We're going to move to 5.4, consideration of approval of the 2026-27 adopted budget. This will be presented by Austin, Chief Business Officer.
No presentation, just the only update I have from the presentation we had earlier in June at our last meeting is that there have been no changes. The governor still has not adopted the budget, so we're not sure if that one slide that I said was kind of our money slide with the ongoing and one-time funding has taken effect yet. The legislature did pass theirs, and they recommended a lot of those items be included as well. But then they negotiate now for 12 days, and they're in that period right now, and they haven't adopted it formally. So no update since our last update. So everything stayed the same.
Do you know when that 12 days is up?
End of the month.
June, yeah.
End of the month?
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Oh, so yeah, the fiscal. All righty. So do we need to act upon this?
You do. Yeah, so this is approval tonight.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve this adopted budget.
Second.
So let's see, Rich is first. Bill, second. All righty. Any comment from anybody in the public? Nope. All right, we'll bring it back. Any comments or discussion amongst the board? All righty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty, passes 5-0. All righty, moving on to 5.5, consideration of approval of education protection account report for the 2025-26. Austin, you're up again.
This is one of those housekeeping items every year, but this year is a little bit more special just because the item that Susanna Pfeffer has been talking to you 5 about, used to be 7 with the 2 student board members, was about the Proposition 30 and Proposition 55 being extended. So if you remember her coming up talking about that text measure and us kind of all saying we're all in agreement because it's more funding for teachers and instructional aides in the classroom. The purpose of this was adopted originally back in 2012, and it's funding that can only be used for instructional salaries. And so in our district, we use all of it for teacher salaries. And so when that law was passed, you had to bring forward and show that all of that money has been used for teacher salaries. And so that's what we did. We've done it obviously every year since. It's heavily audited. So yeah, that's what this item is.
Okay. Any questions of Austin, folks?
So Austin.
Yes, sir.
Are these included in our, I'll call it the working and spending budget that we have, or are they kept as reserves? Are they isolated and used for particular programs? Tell us, I mean, I see 1.8 million for the district and 342 for Cali.
Yeah.
Is there, what limitations, if any, are there on these monies?
Yeah, so the way these dollars work is they're actually rolled into the LCFF, the local control funding formula. So it's that same pot of money that attendance, unduplicated count, all of that kind of gets crunched together in a formula, and you get a dollar amount per student times by how many kids you have. So basically what they've done is they said, we'll give you 8% more of the state's revenue, which is roughly about what this proposition was. but you have to use that 8% more. You have to show it to us that you're going to use it on teacher salaries. For us, that's never been a problem. So we've always used it 100% for teacher salaries. And that's what this item is. I hope that answers it, Bill.
It does. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else up here? No. Anyone in the audience? Nope. All right, bringing it back. Can I have a motion to approve 5.5?
I'll make a motion to approve 5.5.
All right.
I'll second.
And all righty. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, 5-0. Right, moving on to 5.6. Oral recommendation regarding salary and or fringe benefits for the superintendent and chief business officer. This will be presented by me. Basically, I think what this is kind of more of a report out of closed session, in essence, 2. So let me grab all this stuff here so I can make sure I got stuff. It's kind of, actually, let me grab this. Hold on a second. All right, this is what I'm going to report out, and then we can have our discussion. For those at home, this is very specific in how we do it. It's kind of cumbersome and awkward, but it's the way we're supposed to do it. So reporting out of closed session for the superintendent for his contract. During Superintendent Decker's 6 years with Windsor Unified School District, staff has received a cumulative 24.98% pay increase. And during the same time period, Superintendent Decker received raises totaling 6%. Superintendent Decker had in his current contract an annual $10,000 bonus that he has not taken in any of his last 4 years. As we were deficit spending, he wanted to leave that in the budget. So $40,000 has stayed in the budget that he could have taken. Like all other staff, Superintendent Decker's salary is increasing retroactively for the 25-26 school year to $297,500. Going forward in the 2026 to 2030 school years, Superintendent Decker will not have an optional $10,000 bonus each year that was approved 4 years ago and that he never took. Instead, the $10,000 will be added to the annual salary along with the 2.15% step up received by all staff members. So his annual salary will total $314.11 in the 26-27 school year. The cell phone stipend of $100 per month has been replaced with a $250 per month technology stipend that will include phones, computers, iPads, Wi-Fi, internet, etc. The auto stipend has been increased from $350 to $600 per month. All other provisions of the contract will remain the same. For the CBO, Chief Business Officer Austin Matsaganian, I practice that all day long. Likewise, is a top-level CBO whose professionalism attracted the attention of top school districts in California who pay substantially more than our district. In recognizing Austin's excellent management of the district's finances, Austin, like Superintendent Decker, will have his 25-26 contract retroactively amended to reflect a salary increase to $240,000. For the 2026 to 2030 contract years, Austin's salary will be $245,160, inclusive of the 2.15% annual step increase, and the district will contribute an amount equal to 10% of his base salary to the tax-deferred plan in recognition of his post-PEPRA, did I say it right, Bill? Practice that one for a while, too. PEPRA membership. All other provisions of the contract will remain the same. So that meets our legal standard of what we have to awkwardly go ahead and put out there. And that's our report from closed session. That's the agreement that we are going forward in our contract and our resolutions for the retroactive and the forward acting. I'm going to open this up to the public right now, if there's any public comment.
So I think you have concluded 5-6.
Oh,
That's your oral recommendation. I'm sorry, just to be clear. And
no,
now we're
thank you.
moving to 5-7, where we're considering the agreements that outline what you.
So I love you, Bill.
That's
Yes.
the only two contracts that we do this way.
Nope, this is what Bill does. for the Fire districts, keeps guys like me straight. Yeah, so that concludes 5.6. And now moving on to 5.7. We're going to consider approving this. And I would like to go to public comment for anything that you've heard so far. Seeing that, I'll bring it back to the board. So any comments that we want to make regarding these things?
The only observation I would make is, I think it came up last meeting when Austin was presenting our gross budget. We are creeping up towards $100 million a year. And while these are good salaries, we are, a top performing district. As we heard this in public comment, we always have things we need to work on and grow on and do differently or better, or be frank and have courageous conversations about. But I think particularly for these two, which are the only two contracts that we do in this fashion, I would support the consideration and approval of the agreements, of which I think there's 4.
Yeah,
There's the retroactive 25-26 for the superintendent, and then his going forward contract 26 and on. Similarly for the CBO, there's his retroactive contract 26-27 and his going forward contract that you described the bullet points for 26-30.
Yeah, so officially, we have an amendment for Austin for the 25-26 school year. And we have an amendment for Jeremy for the 25-26 school year.
Do you want to do those first?
Yeah, let's do that and get those out of the way first. So I'd like to make a motion. I'm going to do each one separate. I'd like to make a motion that we pass this amendment to CBO Austin Matzaganian. That we make a motion that we approve this amendment.
And that's the retro for the 25-26. I'll second that.
Okay, so let me write this all down because. So.
Yeah, so before we vote, I just want to say that I feel a little bit uncomfortable voting on this one only because, due to work commitments, I haven't been able to participate in the conversations. So I'm just going to recuse myself from this one only because I wasn't, there for the more nuanced conversations about this.
Gotcha. Okay. And so, Bill, did you make the motion or Stephanie? Bill did. All right. And then I'm going to second the motion to agree to this amendment. All right. And so, any discussion from the audience? Nope. All right, bringing it back. Malali's going to abstain. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? And 1 abstention. So it'd be 4-0-1. All righty. And then we're going to do the same thing for the amendment for Jeremy's for the 25-26 school year retroactive. Anybody would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment
Okay, Stephanie.
for Superintendent Decker.
All right. And I will second as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul. There you go. The Paul. All righty. And I'm assuming you're going to abstain. Okay. Anybody in the audience want to discuss something? Okay. Sorry, I know this is kind of redundant, but how we're supposed to do it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Okay, so that'd be 4-0. You're abstaining, correct? Okay, and 1. All righty, so that's on the 2 amendments. And we'll sign those here in a minute. Then on the actual contract, stay with Austin. We'll go that first. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the contract for Austin for the 2026 to 2030 contract.
Second.
Okay, so that would be, so that's the amendment. The contract. Austin. So, Rich, Bill. Okay, anybody in the public comment? Nope, bringing it back to the board. Any discussion amongst board members? Okay, vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose? And abstain? Or oppose?
Yeah. No, abstain.
Abstain?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'd be 4-0-1. All righty, and then the contract for, that's this one, and the contract for Jeremy. I likewise will make a motion that we approve the contract for 2026 to 2030 for Jeremy Decker. Can I get a second?
Second.
Oh, Paul beat you. So that's Rich, Paul. All righty. All those, public comment? All right, bring it back. None. Any more discussion? All righty. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain?
We're all done.
Okay. And one.
I did want to make one quick comment. I not related to needing to just say it beforehand, but just to Bill's point about this being like $100 million organization. I know when we're approving big contracts, it just seems like big dollar values, and it can be like, why would a public agency pay this? Like, it can seem like it's not connected directly, but I can say from my personal experience, having sat in this seat, that there are such big decisions and such consequential things that come from these positions that I've seen that when you have a high performer and you're competing, as we are, we're an ADA district, but we're competing against basic aid districts in the area who get more resources than we have, that they just have as part of their budgeting process, and we have less to work with. It makes a difference to have super high performing people in our top roles. I mean, we have super high performing people in every role, but to get the super high performing people in the top roles, we have to be competitive with other districts in our area who are actively trying to steal our top people away from us, I suspect. So I think we have to be fair for what they would earn in any other district in the area. And I think that culture also, like, not trickles down, but is replicated, with the people that serve under you and who serve under those people. I mean, I think if we are rewarding people for their talent, and we do it monetarily, but we also try to do it through culture in our district. So we try to use every resource available to us. It's not just about money. It's also about being at a great place to work. Then that gets replicated throughout every position in the district is kind of the way that we see it and that we hope that it works out. So just wanted to say that to me, this is probably cringy to hear a public discussion about your own salary. So, thanks for sitting through it and having us talk about you like this. But it's important to be transparent about our thought process behind it, since we are making the decision. And I think it's really important to stand behind it and be able to explain why we're making that decision. So that's my thinking behind it.
Thanks, Stephanie. To be honest, I guess for you guys, this is kind of like financial streaking, where, because nobody else in school has to do this. Nobody else's salary's out there. Nobody else's benefit package is out there. Nobody's health is out there. Nobody knows how many times they go to the dentist is out there. Nobody knows anything about anybody except for you two. And they know everything. And so, I never gave my dad enough credit for having to endure that every so many years, and what have you. So I just want to say I appreciate the commitment you guys have both made to our district. some of you guys at home, I just want to read this real quick because I know that there's a few folks out there that kind of think that everybody loves a raise unless it's the other guy getting it. And so we need to stop being like that. But when it comes to superintendents, I wish my dad was alive today, and I wish he lived in Napa. Because the superintendent in Napa, they make $421,000 a year, plus benefits, which is about another $100,000. Goes $328,000. St. Helena, a little spot up there on the way to someplace, $307,000. Petaluma and Sonoma, they're $295,000. Brand new superintendents with no experience. We've got one with 11, 12, 13 years experience and doing a great job. Our CBOs, Napa's $303,000 plus benefits. St. Helena's $283,000 plus benefits. SCO's $267,000 plus benefits. Novato's $255,000 plus benefits. Why does that matter? Because just like at work, for all of us, well, as people in the regular, competitive world, it's people, headhunters, professional placement people. I get calls all the time asking me to be on boards. I get calls all the time asking me if I want to acquire other companies and add them to our company. I have people constantly calling my people, offering them big bonuses, signing bonuses, this, and if they'll go to our competitors. The world is just that way. And so it's tough when I have somebody who's worked for me for 20 years and they go, hey, these guys just called up, man. They offered me $50,000 a year more if I will leave. And I said, wow, that's a lot of money. And I'm going, are they going to be there in 2 years to keep paying you that amount of money and what have you? And they're going, that's a good question. I don't know. And I said, well, so anyhow, these discussions go on all the time in real life. Luckily, I mean, I feel bad for you guys, to be honest, because nobody knows how much money I make except for my banker, my wife, and my bishop, because she's always looking to make sure I'm doing that full 10% thing. So anyhow, I know this is embarrassing. I know that's awkward, whatever, but we want you guys to know we both appreciate you. And the money that we're paying you guys, we know that you guys earn it. You earn it a lot. I mean, we all know folks who do the minimum. We know folks who do kind of average. And then we know folks who do excellent and excellent work. It's just because they're wired that way. They can't help themselves. And we're lucky that we got both of you guys and you're wired that way. In all aspects of the job. Jeremy, you have done an amazing job of rebuilding the culture here in Windsor that was here when I first joined the school district many, many years ago. An example, when I first met Angela West, she just retired. Fantastic middle school principal. When I first met her, we were chatting and I said, well, what made you come to Windsor? Because she's very accomplished on her own. She goes, I just want you to know, I got offered more than $20,000 more to go somewhere else. She goes, but I wanted to be here. She goes, I'm here because of Jeremy Decker. She goes, because of Jeremy Decker, that's why I'm here. And she goes, I like the way he manages. I want to learn from him. I want to get better under his help and instruction and whatever. Now, I did ask her later why she stays here, and she said it's because of me. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Just kidding. But in all seriousness, Jeremy, we're a family of 500 people. As you saw tonight, we got a couple of our brothers and sisters aren't quite happy, and they're trying to figure out how to do some stuff. And so we got to work on some family relations and how to get things working. And there's always going to be that dynamic. When you got 500 siblings and there's going to be ebbs and flows, highs and lows, and the whole 9 yards. But anyhow, I'm just very appreciative of all the extra time that you put in. You know, I'm not lost. Stephanie and you have spent a great deal of time and effort rebuilding the trust and respect with our Lytton neighbors. And that we had a stumble in our community for a while. And that respect and that friendship and just that outpouring of genuineness is, I believe, is a big reason why they voluntarily came to us to help us when the bond didn't pass, to help us cover that $5 million debt on the preschool. And that's huge. Those kind of things are intrinsic values that you can't put a number on. You can't put anything on. I just that and many, many other things. Austin, how you look at the finances, one, your honesty and your integrity. Man, here's what it is. No hiding a chicken like you hear about in other districts and in our district in the past. Everybody respects you for your integrity, and that has brought a lot of goodwill with all our bargaining partners as well. So I just want you guys to know, I know you guys could have made more money going somewhere else. And I appreciate you staying here and continue to give your best to our district. And we look forward to how much better our next 4 years can be with you guys leading and helping with our big old family that we've got. So thank you very much.
I just want to say, thank you to my colleagues here on the board who I know you all put a lot of thought into your conversations about this item. And I know that you really considered our budget and, consider all of the moving parts. And I just want to say I'm sorry I wasn't able to participate, but I'm only about 5 minutes into a brand new job, and it's been difficult to get here from Sonoma State University, fighting the traffic. So I just want to say that. And then also, thank you to Austin, for all your hard work. Every time I have a question, you immediately have an answer. So it's really a pleasure to work with you. Yeah. And then also, Jeremy, thank you for all your hard work. I agree with Rich. You have brought a lot to our district. And also, I think one thing that I really respect about you is that you always listen to, whatever comment I have to say. And especially I know because some of our challenges in creating greater diversity and inclusion are difficult. These are hard conversations and they require a lot of work. It's not a solution that you can come up with overnight. It's just not possible. So, I've always felt listened to. So, thank you. And I think that because of that, that's why, we have this tonight, right? So thank you both for your hard work.
Thank you. I love Windsor. I hope you guys all know that. I'm excited to stay, excited to be here, and do the work.
Good. Thank you. Moving on to our last item, I'm going to recuse myself and turn it over to Superintendent Decker. I'm going to recuse myself and turn it over to Superintendent Decker. Oh, I'm sorry.
Back in because I want to talk about some calendaring when we get back to school.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going to leave and go out there, and then can you tell me when you're all done? Thanks.
So I'm presenting on Windsor Creek. I'll wait till you're gone, actually. Oh, thank you. So we've been hard at work, Stephanie Ahmad and I actually, negotiating with Gallagher Community Homes. And we just wanted to kind of report out what the process has been, as well as the outcome. So again, we're talking about Windsor Creek. It's currently a shuttered school. Those are actual pictures of it, unfortunately. And because it has asbestos, the quote provided by Van Pelt Construction Services to demolish the school is between $2 and $2.5 million. It's really just cost prohibitive to rehabilitate. Also, its location to Mattie Washburn is not ideal, especially if the north of town grows as is projected. It's not in an ideal location to create another potential neighborhood school because of its proximity to Mattie Washburn. So Austin's going to walk you through kind of the timeline to how we got to this point in time.
All right, so we have 2 slides on the timeline. This is the timeline up until Windsor Creek Elementary was closed as an active school. So in December of 2019, the 7-Eleven committee was directed by the board to be created. That was after looking at enrollment trends and a bunch of data, obviously upkeep. And then the committee was approved in January. Then from February to April, the committee met. They looked at several different reports, analyzed data, and then it was ultimately proposed by that committee of public members of, what's the word I'm looking for? Active.
The members of the 7-Eleven committee?
Yeah, just like the members of a 7-Eleven committee are active members in the community. They're not, you'll have a couple of administrators on there, but you also have board members. Bill, were you on that committee back in the... Eric was, okay. So you'll have a board member, you might have 2 board members, you'll have admin, and then you'll mostly have community members there that are...
City representative, town representatives.
Thank you, city and county as well. After that committee met, they made a recommendation on which school sites should close, if any, what to do with certain locations, and they recommended that Windsor Creek Elementary be declared surplus. And so that report was received, and that was end of May 2019, and then the following month in June was the final month of school held at Windsor Creek Elementary. Now that was in June of 2020. That was COVID year. But we have not held school there since. So that was 6 years ago now. In November of 2021, those were when the early years of negotiations happened. Bill, you were in those negotiations with Lewis Companies. At this time, Jeremy and I are both here. We weren't here when the creek officially closed, but we were here for the early years of negotiating. It's worth noting that there were other agencies that had reached out. After talking with them, we never formally entered an exclusive negotiating agreement because we weren't exclusively negotiating with one party, but we were getting interest from elsewhere. But Lewis Companies, we did enter a formal exclusive negotiating agreement with and also extended it in May of 2022 for another 180 days. That ended up not fully being what we were looking for. So then in August of 24, Gallagher came along, and that we entered an exclusive negotiating agreement with Gallagher. That then led about a year and a half later to the property being officially declared surplus. So in December of 2025, we adopted that resolution officially declaring Windsor Creek surplus property. The following month, we issued a 60-day notice of availability. That went out to all parks, all local agencies, and also any housing authority, and that's going to kind of come into play on the next slide of why. That notice period closed in March of 26, and then one of the things that we had done during this process, you notice that Rich Carnation stepped out. We did reach out to the FPPC, the Fair Political Policy Commission. Is that the correct FPPC term? They're the ones that kind of oversee boards and fair political play. And so we reached out to them for a formal letter saying, hey, is there a conflict of interest here or is there not? And they, after 60 days, which they said it was going to take 20, came back and said, no, we've researched everything. We sent over all the documentation. There is no conflict of interest here. There's no reason for Trustee Carnation to not be in those meetings. But he has continued to recuse himself of any conversations, as you all know. In May of 26, the town of Windsor offer was denied. We did receive an offer from the town of Windsor and Gallagher at the end of that 60-day period. We denied the town of Windsor's offer due to no legal pathway forward, really, based off the merits of their offer. We'll get into that a little bit later. and then now the present purchase and sale agreement was signed today by us and awaiting further possible signatures from them. Some of the required actions for a surplus, just so everyone knows, somehow the slide got screwed up, but that's okay. We'll ignore that. So board resolution gets adopted just like we did. Notice of availability goes out to every housing agency that is registered with the Housing and Community Development for the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Local parks, also county parks, town agencies, city agencies, county agencies, all of them were notified. In that 60 days, we of course had the 2 interested. One thing that's extremely important to note about this process is once we have interest, in this case we had 2 interest letters, we then negotiate for a period that can be 90 days, it could be longer, it could be shorter. But there are priorities that we must give. And so that primary priority is affordable housing. So the government code specifically says if multiple entities are interested, priority must be given to the entity agreeing to use the land for affordable housing. It's not a may, it's not a could, it's a must. We have to give them priority. The secondary priority, let's say we have 2 agencies. We didn't in this case, but just to give you an idea of how clear the law is. If we have 2 housing agencies that are going to build affordable housing, we have to give it to the agency that's agreeing to give the most units. So not only are they saying we have to give priority to affordable housing, we have to give priority to affordable housing that's going to build high density housing is kind of the intent of this law.
I'm going to walk us through the 2 offers because we haven't said any of it fully public until just now. So the Town of Windsor offered cash at closing of approximately $3 million. They also offered a possible land exchange of 2 properties that they had stated were purchased for about $650,000 a piece. So let's estimate about $1.3 million value. And then they stated they could potentially get additional grant funding, $700,000 of which could be applied to this offer for Windsor Creek. The use of the property would be intended for park, recreational, and civic purposes. And they did call out that there may be opportunities for joint use with the district. There was no participation in future revenue, and there would be no school impact fees, obviously, because they would not be building. When you look at the Gallagher Community Housing offer, which we have signed as of today, the cash sale is equivalent to the appraised value. So it's also, but it's based on the number of units built. So if it's 368 units, which is the maximum for that parcel, the offer would be $7.5 million. And then it goes down from there based on the number of units. However, there is a floor of 5.66 million. The offer cannot go below that number. And the payment is offered after there's 2 different phases for the project. Phase 1, once it's finished and their certificate of occupancy, which is what CO means, we would receive 50% of the funds. The use of the property would be for staff housing, affordable housing, with priority given to our staff. That's explicitly written into our contract that our staff has priority to the housing. There's also, on top of that, a 99-year profit split. That's the maximum legal amount of time we could have this profit split, meaning whatever projected revenue would come in based on the occupancy rate, we would get 50% of that. None of the management will be done by the school district. It will be managed by Gallagher Community Homes. That's estimated to be between $250,000 to $1 million annually. And it's really hard to know because it's based on the number of units that are ultimately approved, you know, what the occupancy rate is, what the current loan term is in that year. So it's going to be a variable number, but it's going to be between those dollar amounts. On top of that, because this is a housing building project, we would be receiving between 1.5 to 2.5 million in school impact fees. Again, this is based on number of units built, how large they are, and none of that has been flushed out, nor is that in control of the school district. So those were the 2 different offers. And if you're looking, Austin went through the law. Only one of them has affordable housing, which legally that's the only pathway forward. But then there's other components to this offer that I think were important for you guys to know and the community to know. mic off. Also, we had to do something, we had to do an analysis because there's a lot of chatter about, that the law isn't that we have to go with this offer. And so we researched everything that we could think of to see if that was true. And what we came across was something called the Naylor Act. And I'll just ask the question, does the Naylor Act allow the district to sell the property of the town at a reduced price? The answer is no, but here's why. So the Naylor Act, and you could see the education code there, it prioritizes public agencies for acquiring surplus school property, playgrounds, fields, et cetera, at reduced prices. But here's the caveat. Provided the land was used for outdoor recreation for at least 8 consecutive years prior to the surplus declaration. Okay? It was not. This has been a shuttered school campus for, I think we just showed it, 6 years. So it was not. So this does not fall under the Naylor Act. And we've had a legal analysis of this done. So any opposing viewpoints here just aren't accurate. There is no legal pathway to move forward with the town's offer. And that's it, guys. So, this is really a report out of closed session, but we wanted to formalize it, and that I have signed the offer, the purchase and sale agreement with Galler Community Homes, and I will then send it over their way, and hopefully they sign it as well, and we can move forward. Any questions?
Anything? I don't have questions. Just want to thank you for the presentation and make a comment because I was just reflecting as you were giving this presentation that this is something that I've been working on the whole time I've been on the board, and I'm just about to finish my 8th year on the board, and we're just signing the contract today, which tells you how long it takes when you're working really hard and you have an idea to get something from the inception to completion. So it's been almost 8 years to this point, 7.5 years, I guess. And it's pretty exciting. Once you've been through 7.5 years of working on something, you've been drawn in all kinds of different directions. But I want to refocus and reorient what we were thinking about kind of at those beginning stages, which is, I think it was even before we had the surplus property, possibly, but we were thinking about staff housing and how we could attract and retain teachers and what kind of special things we could do. As we were talking about earlier with salaries, we're always trying to think about how can we leverage what we have to offer something to people? And how can we attract teachers and maybe provide something, really nice housing that's more affordable? Maybe we can find a way to subsidize it, which is a potential with our kind of co-developer role with this particular project, because we have a revenue stream that we can use to potentially plug right back in to making the cost of living more affordable for our staff. So it's just like a win-win-win-win situation. We feel we have a solid partner to work with. We're really excited. We've seen only positive things, and also we have an offer that is, I think what we could hope for. As far as I know, this is the only project exactly like this in California or anywhere that's ever been done where you have a co-developer role after and a revenue stream coming in after the fact. So lots of exciting things to look forward to, and I'm glad that we're at this stage where we can finally now get started after 8 years. So thanks for all of your hard work.
Yeah, and thank you. So you're reporting on the direction and the agreement that we made when we were in closed session. We voted on this, but I want to thank Stephanie because she came back from a conference and said, hey, I think we could put worker housing on this, and maybe we could get a cash flow stream out of it as well. And I couldn't wrap my head around that at the time. And yet here we are, and this will, I believe, be another innovative, vision-filled enterprise. Still has a ways to go, but I think it's the right work, and I think it ends up with the right outcome, demonstrating that we can do multiple things in the district at the same time, and I think that's very helpful. And we'll need to work a little bit with our colleagues here. Well, the developer will. We're not the developer, which I think was a good thing too. Initially, when we came on, we were trying to think, we're not landlords and we don't develop property. Let's find people with that skill set as subject matter experts and keep our eye on our focus of workforce housing, allocation of that, as well as a cash flow. That was an added plus that came up as we started to talk, that it's infusing regular amounts of money into our budget. And we know that $1 million or $2 million or $3 million plus impact fees, plus housing at a discounted below market rate is a win all the way around. So anyway, thanks for, I didn't not believe at the beginning. I just didn't understand at the beginning. So it's good. And thank you also for carrying this out. It's been a long journey.
Thanks, Bill. And we did put in language that says the funds cannot go to facilities. So just so we're all aware, that's in the PSA as well.
Yeah. Do you want me to explain a little bit about that?
Sure.
So just the thinking is that this is really supposed to potentially go back into subsidizing housing. So we didn't want to have another revenue stream that just got pulled into like bond or I don't know, that it seemed like it could replace something that we already had ongoing. We really wanted to target it to housing and really making that a benefit to our staff. So that was the thinking.
So no action needs to be taken?
So we're not voting?
No, this was, so this is really a report out. It's just a really formalized way of reporting out because I thought it was important for us to show kind of the community, you know, what we discussed in closed session.
Okay. I think I just have one comment. So I just want to say that I think I've now been on the board for about roughly 5.5 years. Right. So I think from day one that I came onto the board, I really didn't know anything about housing or properties or, you know, like managing that. Right. And since that time, you know, thanks to Rich Carnation, he's given me a master class in basically real estate and, you know, different aspects of land ownership. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all the hard work that has gone into this project. But I do say that it has been a learning process for me, and I haven't understood all the moving parts, you know, because Bill was making reference to trying to understand like how this would be a good project for us. And I want to say that I feel that I'm still in the process of learning even more. But I do feel a little bit of hesitancy sometimes because I know, for example, at Sonoma State, they also had a similar project where, you know, they bought property and the idea was for it to be teacher housing. So very similar. So I think for me, I think that in general, this is a good move in terms of the fact that that property, like nothing was being done with it and it has all this asbestos in it, right? So I think that that's good for us to have movement on doing something with it. But I do have reservations about, you know, how this will be managed in terms of, you know, making sure that it is teacher housing and that it's meant for and used for in the way that this was envisioned. Right, because that didn't really transpire at Sonoma State. It just didn't work out for many reasons. So I think that it'll be interesting to see, you know, if that vision will be delivered, right? So I still, you know, I think about this, and I think that we will have more conversations, but I think, you know, that we'll continue to have more thoughtful conversations about this. But I do have reservations just because I saw like what can go wrong already, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that, you know, that we can like bring this, you know, to what was envisioned from the first place. Because when I first started here, that's when we first started having those conversations about what this could be. So like I said, I think it still has a ways to go, but I'm here. I always try to come with an open mind. You know, just to see what can happen, even if I don't always 100% agree with it. But I think that, you know, we're on the right track. I think we just really have to pay attention to that, you know, the latter part of, you know, how it ultimately gets managed, because I think that that's where things tend to get stuck is when you actually have the people, you know, moving in and that it is for the intended use that was envisioned.
I think it's a great point. We spent a lot of time researching this to make sure that we could have language in there that did give priority to our staff, that wasn't discriminatory. because that's what was most difficult, is working through discrimination language, right? Because when you exclude certain people from having access to housing, it's discriminatory. So we worked with multiple lawyers actually to make sure the language that we embedded in this purchase and sale agreement would pass muster and also give priority to our staff. It's all of our staff would have first priority to any open unit based on the language in the PSA. First right of refusal, I should say, right?
Right.
Right. And
Yeah,
I'm
I think-
really, oh, go ahead.
I think with just one last point, just to address what Jeremy's saying, I don't have doubts in our team and the language that's being put together at all. It's more like I know that the economy is always changing, and
Sure.
teacher salaries, it's not like they're going up radically, right? And then there's also the cost of living, so this is a very expensive area. So I just wonder how that will balance out, right, with what teacher salaries are where they are, and in terms of, what they would be able to afford and what is considered affordable housing in this particular situation. So I have concerns about, the economy in the future.
Yeah. I'm really glad you raised it, because something that a lot of districts have done in California when they're building this type of housing is they go out for a bond to purchase property and to fund the cost of construction. And that's like a whole model. There's a whole industry around that. And we intentionally decided not to spend any district money on the construction or on the development of the property. And that's why we signed a purchase and sale agreement. We actually sold the property, but we've still managed to maintain a relationship with the developer in order to get this benefit for our staff. So I feel like we have found a way to hopefully execute this the best way it could possibly be done, especially for our taxpayer base, who we always try to be very respectful of. They're already funding us through our bond, through other taxes that we pay as workers and earners in our day jobs. So we try to be, and hopefully continuing to fund us through the bond after this coming election in November. So we try to be really, cost effective for our community, try to give them the best deal that we can come up with. And I feel this is, of all of the options out there, which none are perfect, this is the best one that we could find. So I guess the proof will be in the pudding. So we'll see how it goes. But we've got it teed up as best as we can.
Thank you, guys.
Now I see.
Hello.
And thank you for coming back in. On item 5.8, I'd just like to spend a few minutes. This is our last meeting for this school year. We don't have a meeting in July. We'll be back with school starting the middle of August. And just talk a little bit about what you anticipate, Superintendent Decker and President Carnation, on when we might have a before school starts retreat. Do you envision that we'll have a board leadership retreat before, after that, goal setting and those kind of things? If we could talk about that a little bit now, and what you've been thinking about.
Yeah, I wish Jen was here for this one. So we do have an all admin retreat scheduled. I just don't know the day. Do you guys know it? The 3rd of August. So that'll be the full leadership for the district on the 3rd of August. We haven't traditionally held a board specific retreat before school starts, but if that's something of interest to the board, you just let me know and we could do that. We normally have a study session that we talk through our goals for the year. But I'm open to different ideas. If you have something in mind, Bill, otherwise I can come through and propose something. I haven't prepared something. I'm happy to do so. But I was just going to kind of mirror what we've done in the past unless you want something else.
Well, and I would defer to my colleagues. We have a number of things that have gone on and a lot of comments that come up in various settings on issues and topics over the course of the year. Is it valuable to have your admin retreat and get that sort of feedback from the trenches, right? And then have a goal setting later in August or September? I think what happens is it gets a little bit late and, school starts and everybody's day jobs gets in the way and you're doing stuff. So I would defer to my colleagues. I think the district admin retreat is valuable. I think it's also valuable for us to check in and at least sometime early in this next academic year, provide the opportunity for your district leadership goals, your cabinet, your site admin. And I think this is different than what happens at a district admin retreat because you're rolling into the school year to say, hey, where are we on, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goals? What are we thinking about? We haven't done that for a while.
You're right.
And just as a thought, because I think if we don't talk about it, it's guaranteed not to happen. And
let's hold a study session. I would propose doing a study session either before school or at the end of August, not right when school starts, right? That's a busy time. So we would either do it, August 1, 2, 5, or 6, or whatever those days are, or at the end. And do you want me to go back and put something together and propose it, or do you want to establish that tonight? I know getting you guys all together for more than three or 4 hours is tough. So,
Well, two different things. One, I think it would be really, really good to figure out how to have like a little board retreat barbecue thing where you can bring your family and your kids and go swimming and sliding and fit it in between the other 20 football, cheerleading, and everybody else that's going to be using the pool. So Bill's been wanting to come and go swimming at the house. So I think we should do that for sure.
Maybe we can meet in the morning and then have lunch with our families.
That's a good idea.
okay.
And then that gives us a timeline, which is always helpful when we have a finite amount of time and need to make good use of it. So maybe we can find a day to do that.
Preferably like right in the beginning of August, because around the 10th is that special moment where I remind my wife she married me 40 some years ago.
Okay. That's fine with me, and I can put together a plan for what that day really looks like. Share that with you. Easy enough. I love things like this. My staff knows. Put me in front of them, and I get to do all this fun stuff. I get all excited. They're like, "Who is this guy?" Like I was a teacher once in my life. Remember?
location for your retreat?
I'm sure we do. This is what Jen does for me.
I believe it's the same place.
Oh, what was that place called? Comstock. So it's a winery that gives us access to their kind of meeting room.
I was gonna
Big
say,
meeting room.
Isn't it a junior high over in West County?
No, not that Comstock.
That was all I wanted to raise.
And I will, so Bill, I already started looking at the governance calendar for next year. And I will propose a whole new governance calendar. We have some changes to make based on kind of how things went this year. So that'll be coming in August.
Alrighty. Anything else from anybody? Alrighty. Can I have a motion to adjourn for the summer?
I'll move.
Bill moved. Do we have another movement?
I'll second.
We have two. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? I know, what did happen to you get a.